here. They've played 3 series. TNC's won 2. The other series was a draw. And TNC, this might not be the same result for them as they have sort of shifted the roster around. We've got Febby in, of course, standing in as instead of coach, playing instead in the pause 5. That has caused a couple of issues. Their performance has been up and down, but they are top of groups. So they've still been on a steady roll up. Execration's nipping at their heels, number 2 right now.
How dare you, Jonathan? How dare you speak about Febby like that? Especially when they're at the top of groups. TNC, they're sitting at the top right now. You claim that, you know, not having the full team here has impacted their play. I disagree. I think Febby's the reason why they're at the top of the groups right now. It's all Febby.
I'm just biased, you know. I miss March. What can I say? I miss March. He doesn't give me that smile anymore. Febby, he comes in. I ask him, why does March build me? He ignores me.
Oh.
So maybe I've got to butter up Febby. I think that's what it boils down to. I still got to butter up Febby here.
I heard he likes rubber ducks, John. So maybe just get him one of those, and he'll probably be a bit more enthusiastic to talk to you. Still, the draft is beginning. Execration, no surprises here. We'll go for the Leshrac, which we did see the last series, and you know it has been a rather popular pick as of late throughout all regions. Especially China, by the way, John. China apparently loves the Leshrac right now. TNC Predator?
It's just such a stable core, right? It gives you push. It gives you really good laning starts for the most part. It can just kind of hold its own. If things go bad in lane, you can dip into jungle. You have the odd Leshrac support here and there as well, which is still sort of viable if you can play around it. So it's a safe bet for Execration. And Execration's the kind of team, you know, throughout all their iterations, they play one way. No matter what players they have in the roster, they seem to have this mindset of run at you and try to win fast. And I think that's the right approach to a team like TNC. You don't want to draw it out where it boils down to mechanical play. You want to force this game to run fast and try to force TNC to fumble around. They do get to start with what they love to pick up. Mirana comes out, more than likely our Tim's hero, of course, his special. So starting off on a comfy start already, and Execration get the Mars. So Mars Leshrac, seen it multiple times. This is something Execration likes to run in different tournaments as well. Really safe pickups for them, and gives them team fight, gives them push, gives them a lot of presence to build the rest of the draft up on.
You know what I always say about the Tim's Mirana, John? He doesn't miss, right? When it comes to the arrow, Tim's doesn't miss. In fact, fun stat, John, throughout the group stages thus far, Tim's has played the Mirana 3 times, 100% win rate. He does know this hero very, very well, and it's one of those things when you verse TNC, there's so many things to ban out, and you tend to kind of allow the Mirana to go through because you don't really see it as a real threat. It's not very popular in the current meta. But in the right hands, it can be quite devastating to play up against. And speaking of devastating, well, there's your Sven, which it's the first time we're seeing it today somehow, but there it is. It's available now for TNC.
Yep. I don't know what else to say about this one. It's such a common pick. It's super strong. The Ag's timing's really nice. The farm timings are really good as well.
Yep.
So there's a lot of potential for Gabby to just build up his farm. We've seen Gabby play this throughout a ton of tournaments. He loves this hero. He knows how to run it. I'd say he doesn't love it as much as his PA, but you know it still gets a job done as well for him. So we'll see what Execration builds up here. Leshrac does melt the Sven, at least bypasses his Warcry armor. So you do have some good magic damage to come through. Maybe look to really start to play around with disarms here to really hold him down. So perhaps don't really have room for a Pangolier when you start with Mars Lesh, but maybe you force it out. That makes this draft for Execration really strange. But that's one way. Perhaps they could look at the Oracle sniped here for Execration, although TNC could easily pick that up as well for Febby. So we'll just have to wait and see. TNC, and they've got the Tim special. They've got Sven, much more meta hero. It is looking pretty darn nice for TNC to start off this way.
See where they go with these ban outs. Venge is going to be the final ban here. TNC. What do you want to pick up here with this Sven Mirana opening? I mean, you could just
I
go
don't
for
know,
the pos 5. It's, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, you just take a pos 5, you've already got the spin, it's just a matter of who you want to combo with.
I'd say Oracle's really nice. Take out the magic damage from the Lash, gives you false promise as well to keep your Sven just alive and running down people. The Root can kind of play with a Mirana if you want to play in that way. But I think just Sven Oracle's a really darn strong combo. They go with the Undying instead, which is, it's its own thing. It's got its healing as well with the Soul Rip. We've seen a lot of Undying come true and actually do a lot of work for the most part. Not much from Execration yet to deal with Tombstone spam, so they've got to watch out. And the ET is not going to help in that aspect as well. So Elder Titan comes through, tying up the team fight of Execration. Right, you've got Mars, you've got ET with a Stomp, with the Split Earth, the Leshrac as well with the AoE. But they've got to be cautious about where they fight. If they fight in the choke point where the Undying can get the Tombstone on a cliff, we've seen that really ruin fights for a lot of teams.
Elder Titan picked up by Execration. We see this plenty of times with the Leshrac. Just very strong, kind of potent combination. TNC Predator, they do go for the Void Spirit now, and it's a flexible pickup. It could either be in the mid or the off lane, but... Well, I say you'd expect in the mid, but we know KP. He does enjoy playing this Void Spirit quite a lot. Execration, they do go into the Faceless Void now, so trying to counter out the Void Spirit and the Sven for that matter. I guess the Void is one of the better picks up against the Sven, considering you do have the inbuilt magic damage with the Bash. But it really goes either way, right? Like, it's... When you get to the point where you have the Ags and the level 15 up on the Sven, it's kind of hard to contest this Sven no matter who you are.
Yeah, it is. I think the one thing for Execration here is that they go with this Void. Not only does it kind of go back and forth with the Sven, but the Chrono does play really nice with their lineup. So ET plus Chrono is great. Leshrac plus Chrono is also great. There's not much from TNC to deal with that. Like, they can't really dip into Avenge. There's no room for them to go for an Oracle, go for anything to kind of stop the Chrono from being effective. So there's a lot of leeway here for Execration to just maximize it. What I am keen to see is how Execration closes out their draft. So it looks like they might end with a pause 5 or in the Lesh mid, Mars off, and ET plus 1 support. We'll see what they do. Pocket till the end. TNC, they do have last overall pick, so they can kind of dance around that. Options to control the Void are really shrinking down. You see that Beastmaster taken out here. No Roar to stop the Faceless Void inside. It's going to be a pretty straightforward Faceless Void game here for Execration.
I'd say so. Final banouts. We do see the Skywrath being removed here from TNC. So not wanting that kind of nice combination with the Void. You know, obviously the Mystic Flare after the Chrono does come out. Even with the Mars, of course, it is quite devastating. Execration, though, final pickup for them. What do you want here?
5 seconds.
I mean, it must be a position 4 coming out here for Execration, right?
Yeah,
something to go with the Mars.
It should be. Definitely. Just giving them that support to really tie it up. I don't know what they'd take, though. Like, maybe... I don't know, because the ET as a support is already pretty greedy as well. I think they might look for a 5 here, ET4 instead, but we have seen ET5. I guess a Rubik could line up, Mars, lift, lift into Spear is always nice. You've got some decent spells to steal, not the most amazing, but Rubik doesn't necessarily need that. You can tie in well with a combo, so I haven't needed to close out with that Rubik.
Okay. I mean, it's very strong with the Mars as well, right? You have the easy Spear setup, even more Magic Amp as well. In conjunction with the Elder Titan, I mean, the amount of Magic Amp you have right now on the side of Execration is kind of insane. It's going to be quite a nice feeling for this Leshrac to be able to just kind of run in with all this bonus damage that it can pump out. And of course, up against the Sven, who does have a very, very high armor, that magic damage is going to be very influential this game, I'm sure. TNC, however, their final pickup now, arguably lacking an Armel hero here. What I'm seeing, John, I wouldn't mind seeing the Armel Kunkka come out.
Yeah. That would be perfect here, right? You buff up the Sven, but they go to Quap instead, so they go with something with high mobility. This is really nice with the Void Spirit. So you've got two heroes that can jump around, cause havoc in the back line, maybe look to hunt down the Leshrac first, or silence up the Void, take control of Yaoi before he can get off the Chrono, and that's one way to really turn that fight in its head. So TNC, really tidy lineup. They've got the Sven to carry them through late, but they've got a lineup that can also fight as 4 really early on. Execration's got to watch that aggression. They need to play perfectly around the Chronospheres that Yaoi will bring out, and kind of play around with the teamfight potential that they do have around a Chrono here.
Okay. Let's see how this one pans out, of course. Generally speaking, both teams want to try and get away with a 2-0 victory if they can. TNC, I'm sure, are going to be sitting there as the favorites in this matchup, considering they're standing in the groups right now. Execration, not, if I do remember correctly, they're not actually doing too bad in the groups either, are they?
Yep. They're nipping at the heels of TNC, number 2 right now. So
right.
They're just right behind, and if they do get a full win, that would immediately drag them up above. If they get a draw, things stay the same, but I'm sure TNC wants to start building up a lead. You know, no one's getting eliminated here if they do end up in the bottom, but you do want to be the upper seed, tighten up your chances in the upper bracket start, and just have a smooth ride in those playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into it. Game number 1 between TNC and Execration is underway now. Of course, 2 Filipino teams here, John, is probably going to mean we are going to have some pauses going on, as is tradition. And you're going to have to do some translating for me as well, Jonathan. I know Filipino isn't your first language, as you like to tell me, but...
That's very true. Armel, no trash talk BDC, please. And then BDC saying, don't trash talk me in the GC group chat, I guess. Then Yaoi's giving a shout out to, I believe, Wombo X Combo. Aldo's
Nice.
one of the casters, so bit of a shout out. If you'd only shout out us. So, you know, I've still got to poke March about that.
Well, I mean, speaking
Someday.
of March, I was going to say Febby probably feels like March right now, having no idea what they're saying, as poor March had to put up with, and March seemed to enjoy it, though, in all fairness.
Oh, I love the start from Febby. Look at this.
That's-
5 mangoes start on Undying. That's what you love.
See, March would be very proud of this, John. As we know,
Absolutely.
March's nickname was Mango March. Yeah, he was Eminem himself, and
Yep.
obviously Febby, understanding what a great Captain March was, he follows suit.
Oh, you've got to keep up that pace. Still, not going to be any big scuffles here. We'll see what Febby can do in his lane. Of course, he's going to be laning up with Gabby. So it's the Sven Undying lane. That can be pretty aggressive if you do manage to get a good spot here, and Febby does go for Decay level 1. They are going to be laning up against Rupido and BDZ on the Mars and Rubik.
How dare
So
you.
it's that combination we
Don't-
picked up. What?
Don't start pronouncing things in the Filipino way. I'm the one who has to do play-by-play, John. Don't go saying rupido, because you're going to make me have to pronounce it like that every time we go into a team fight. Is that actually how it's pronounced? Is it rupido?
No, you don't really prolong the rolling R, but you could. I don't know. It's not like a set rule, man. You know.
Is it because
you can
I
say
did
what
the
you
whole
want.
rambulan thing? So now you wanna roll some R's too? Because I'll roll
Yeah,
R's all game if you want me to, John. I'll do it.
You know what? Do it. It's more fun that way, isn't it? There's just something about rolling those R's that's fun. Still, BDZ is having a good time here as well, getting this nice pull off, and we've seen this a lot from Rubik's, but they get a fast level 2, it can be really hard to deal with.
That it can. Not a fun lane here for Rupido. Febby just going to keep running at him with all these decays, and of course that'll allow Gabby to just freely farm up behind his own tier 1 tower, and this is exactly what Gabby wants to be doing. It's just going to mean he should have absolute free CS. BDZ, realizing where the creep wave is now, is going to have to make his way up towards that top lane to try and contest Gabby. So one thing you don't want to do up against a Sven is give him a free lane like this. You want to at least try and be there to harass him and deny some creeps away. Looks like Gabby, realizing he was on his way, is going to just drag the creep wave underneath the tier 1 tower, as BDZ is going to go for another pull away.
Yeah, just get that EXP flowing. Of course, this is really taking away the presence of Febby. Like, he has no one to decay, he has no one to trade hits with, so it's going to be a slower start for the Undying. This does give us some time to talk about other lanes. Like, we look down mid, Armel versus Ken, Lushrak versus Quap. Been a really good start for Armel so far. Finds the Obs Ward as well. So gets a little bit of gold going for his supports, and he's got a lot of last hits on top of that Lush. So Ken's got to watch himself. This is something that the Lushrak can mitigate by going into the jungle, but you don't want to bleed too much to a Quap this early on.
Absolutely not. Yeah, I believe we did see this matchup in the last series. I can't remember who exactly it favored, but no, in fact, it wasn't this matchup. It was Leshrak versus Ember. Really goes to show you how bad my memory is getting, John. I'm getting real old now. Still, the mid lane, of course, like you said, it's going to be a bit of a trade, but Armel looks like he is going to pull ahead on the Queen of Pain, at least for now. Hard thing for Armel, though, in this mid lane is he can't really roam around as the Quap. So as soon as you do, Ken's going to be able to just push the lane in and pop the Diabolic Edict and just force in that tier 1 mid tower.
Yeah, and we've seen Lushraks get that mid tier 1 super fast, get their supports to back them up, find it before the 10-minute mark. That gives a lot of room for Execration to roam around, so got to be some emphasis here from Armel to keep that lane shoved in. Let's see if the supports can get their bodies down. We're hitting that 4-minute mark soon. And taking a look down bot, Tims is already sort of setting up, just getting some damage off, getting some, trying to be annoying towards RR to get himself some space. They are sort of leaving Yaoi alone to farm up. He's had a pretty straightforward time here in the Faceless Void. KP is slightly ahead though, so that's not good news for Execration, but you're not slowed down in this Faceless Void at all.
KP knows this Void Spirit very, very well. He's been playing it quite a lot, and it's not too surprising that KP would find himself ahead in terms of CFs up against this Void. At least for now, anyway. See how it does pan out. Mid lane. There goes my dog. It's like mid lane. Ken is going to get ganked up. He does get taken out, and BDZ, he was there to try and help out, but he's also going to go down. Armel going to pick up a double kill and the first blood gold, and that is a real disaster here for Execration and TNC, and they know it. They're all tipping BDZ.
Hey, come on, guys. They said no trash talking in the group chat, right?
It's kind of like
Can't have that when you are fighting.
Yeah, I mean, I've been having a lot of pub games in SCA, John, and they also say the same thing, right? One team trash talks the other. They say, please, don't trash talk, don't be toxic. And you know what happens the moment they start winning, John? Is they pause the game and they start trash talking every single time. Every single time. It's the bait and switch.
It's Southeast Asia. It's just tradition at this point, you know, especially when it's down to, you know, the Rambulan. When it's these two Filipino teams, you got to bring out that internet cafe culture. A little bit of trash talk never hurt anyone. You gotta just man up and kind of put yourself out there. That's just how it goes.
Jeez, you're toxic, John. Such a toxic person, you know that?
Hey, I've got behavior score of 10,000, all right? So I'm a very good player because I never chat. I mute all my teammates. I mute all my enemies. It's a solo game. What do you mean?
Mid lane, Mel copping a lot of damage there from Ken. He's going to be alright, though. Because you pointed it out earlier, John, but Armel, he's had a very good mid lane. I mean, he had those 2 kills, he had the first blood gold bonus, and you look at his CS, he's doubling up on this Leshrak right now. And in terms of levels, of course, he is 1 full level ahead and finds another power rune for himself. It is going to be an Invis rune, and of course Armel, understanding how far ahead he's going to be right now, is feeling very, very confident.
Oh yeah, they're just keeping the supports down here as well, forcing some movements back from Execration as well. So you saw RR dip down mid just to get some space out, and you are seeing Ken dip into that jungle early on, trying to play catch up. That just opens up so much for Armel. And the fact that these supports are having to roam mid has met that Gabby up top. Free run in his farm. He's already got his Massive Madness at 6.5 minutes in. This has just been a free start for Sven.
I mean, mind you, he did skip the treads, so there's that, but definitely Gabby feeling like he can afford to just be greedy. Well, for now, he's gotten away with it. Nothing stopping him from picking up that Mask of Madness without boots. Meanwhile, mid, Tims does land an arrow onto Ken, and that means Ken is gonna die with the Sonic Wave out, but Armel could be in danger, but no, he does juke out the stomp out from RR. And again, Armel, it was indeed pretty perfect. He gives the tip over to Ken.
Yeah, it's everything you could ask for. This is just a perfect start for TNC. 3-0, and all 3 kills are just on their mid-core. Like, what more could you ask for? They're protecting Gabby in the jungle. You did see the roam around here from BDZ, but he was just a bit too late. Does get his 1 ward cleared. 1 ward stays around, but it's not the best vision. It's just watching 1 camp. That's not going to really put a dent in Gabby's rotations here in the jungle.
BDZ. He's going to be alright, Tims. He did use the arrow to just get a large creep off that large camp. Execration, they look very lost right now, I've got to say, John. The only good thing going for them right now is the fact that Yaoi is farming very nicely on that basis void, but I mean, when I say nicely, I mean he is still behind Armel, but he finds a nice chrono out. Ken needs that split earth out ASAP and does land it nicely, and that'll be a kill going towards Ken onto Armel. And that was a very important kill to be able to secure there for the side of Execration.
Yep, it's on the hero with 3 kills. Pretty much all the kills in that game was just on Armel, so good punishment coming out. I like seeing Yaoi go around with his chrono, understanding that it is such a big spell to play with in this lineup. They get good use out of it. He isn't going to win the farming game up against this Fendo, so they should understand that. Try to play around that timing. They have clumped up top looking for that tier 1 top. It is only Tims. This could be a really good target to take as well for Execration.
It certainly could be. Tims is going to hang around, however, and try and see if he can slow this down a little bit. Of course, he is in a nice prime position to go for a counter kind of initiation if his team does need it. But now he does reveal his position. In Execration, even without a siege creep, don't seem too concerned about just forcing this tier 1 tower in. TNC, I mean, they already got the bot tier 1 tower. They're not worried about it. They're going to let it go. And I think for TNC, as long as Gap... No, they're going to go for a fight. They've smoked up. Spear is going to be there onto KB, but he's going to be just fine as he goes in on to Rupido. And it looks like our Elder Titan, or rather Mars, is going to die. Gabby now trying to go onto this void. A lot of damage coming out of the Sonic Wave is there from Armel. They do get another. And Johnny, if I may, props to Febby. He does have that new Undying set that you can't afford to get.
Yeah, it is really sick. Like, I do love it. I can't wait to see the Flesh Golem come out. And Fabby's doing some good work. Like, they smoked up, they found a kill, they're roaming into the triangle. They might find RR here.
Okay, B gonna spot him out now. Nice bounty rune still there from KB, and oh, he has a full bottle now. He'll get a bit of harassment out. In fact, he might just go for a kill. He will. KB able to pick up a solo pickoff onto the Elder Titan. Nice and easy. Gabby seeing the opening now without that Elder Titan up, goes straight into that tier 1 mid tower. They also have the 10-minute siege creep coming in, and there's really no stopping the side of TNC at this point in time. Not with a 5k net worth lead.
It's just such a huge amount. 6k at 10.5 minutes. I didn't even realize it. But they've run over this early game start. Gabby's just had a perfect time of farming. He's got Mask of Madness and Equi Saber up already. But his power treads, like, it's flying out now. This is just ridiculous for Gabby. And Execration, they've kind of fallen behind. 1-6. Their only kill came out with Chrono. They do have Chrono ready to go, but they need to throw all their bodies out to find that pickoff.
So while we have a bit of downtime, someone asked me to say Rambulan na tayo. What does that mean, John?
Rambulan na tayo. That's like, let's fight now. Let's fight. Let's do it.
First of all,
Rambulan
John,
na tayo.
You don't need to pronounce it so well so that I sound like an idiot, right? I'm the play-by-play here, John. Hey?
I'm sure you can nail it. I'm just telling you, you can copy it once I say it.
Well, pronounce it again, John.
Rambulan na tayo.
Rambulan na tayo.
Yeah, there you go. You got it. It's just about there. It's better than mine, I'd say.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Yeah. I've been working hard to start learning the language. of the Philippines. I've been getting there, I think.
Yeah,
Yo,
the
well-
next thing we know, it's like when you drop by here, the first place you'll go to is a net cafe and just start trash talking some kids.
I'm going straight to Jollibee, John, as is
That's the
tradition.
spirit.
Top
That's what
lane.
you want.
Void is going to be in a bit of trouble here as they are going to chase him up. Armel doesn't quite have the Orchid up yet.
Shadows, take us.
Moonlight Shadow going to be popped. They know the Void is around somewhere. Armel going to go the right way, but there is also already a TP out. Rupido might be in a little bit of trouble though, John. He's Now you don't get to laugh every time I pronounce it. I told you I would do it.
I love it. It's just, I can feel how much fun you have saying the rolling R. It's just fun, isn't it? When you've got an excuse to do it. It's just fun, right? You rarely get to do it most of the times, but when you let out the rolling R, it just feels right.
It
Feels
does.
absolutely right.
I would agree.
Come get me.
Still. This is, I mean, Rupido's name is nice, but you look at the score right now, Mike, it's not. 1-6, 7k lead for TNC. Execration just constantly lagging behind. And we talked about this. Like, Yaoi, with all the space in the world, will just not farm as efficiently as Sven. Just the nature of the heroes. He does not have an inbuilt cleave. They've been sitting on this chrono for a while. Execration needs to either find a way of stopping this farm, get some deep wards in, or try to force some bodies out in objectives. They're sitting on a Lesh with Diabolic Edict maxed out, and they haven't made too much progress in objectives.
No, they haven't. I mean, Rupido is literally still just pulling creeps in the top lane. We're 13.5 minutes in. The lane's over, but he's hanging around. He's still committed to trying to win this lane. I don't think there's any coming back, though. Gabby is way and truly ahead. He does now get his Blink Dagger up on the Mars, and that can mean he can start to get a bit more involved with his team. In fact, they're going to go... Oh. Yeah, they just double smoke, John.
Yikes. Yep.
That's a bit of a yikes. That's unfortunate. Tims might even be able to break off the smoke, and he does. RR gonna get spotted out. Tims knows they were smoked up now, so there's no chance in hell they get caught out. In fact, KP, he has a double damage rune active. He wants to jump in.
Scanning for enemies.
He just doesn't care. They are 8k ahead, mind you, so I don't think they need to care.
No. I mean, what the hell timing is this in Gabby? BKB next, and he is just so close. Like, this is just wild. Like, what? 1.1k away from the BKB on a Sven at 14.5 minutes in, when he's got Equisaber, Mom, Treads. This is just the freest game you could ask for Gabby.
I would agree. Another smoke up. Where are they getting all these smokes from? They've been storing them, John. Execration, their third smoke in the last 30 seconds. Into the dire triangle. Febby is going to be the one to break the smoke now, and a quick Moonlight Shadow, but they have caught out Gabby, but they miss the spear. They'll get the dust off Gabby. He pops the God Strength, looking to fight back. KP jumps in now, controlling up the Titan. They commit the Chrono, but where's your damage out? The Stomp is coming, but Armel, the Sonic Wave's going to be there. They take down the Void. Ken's trying his best. He might just die to Gabby's damage. He will, and now they'll all get chased down. He's trying to run away, but there is no running. 10k advantage now to TNC. A full team wipe out. This is really turning into a one-sided affair here. TNC just not taking any prisoners.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal here, Mike. 1-11. 11k lead. I don't know what Dota Plus will say. Dota Plus is saying 90-10. With TNC. Like, this is 16 minutes in, man. I don't know what to say. This is brutal. Execration. I mean, they're trying. Like, I think that's something you have to watch out for as a team. You know, when you kind of tunnel vision into just smoking up multiple times. They popped a scan right when they got their smoke broken as well. So they're just losing these tools one by one, and they're bashing their heads against a wall. And they need to regroup, reconsider, get some information out on the map before making these moves out, and be very careful with how they position themselves.
It's very true, John.
Have fortified their structures against attack.
It's hard as well. You're up against this Tim's Marana. He's always throwing out arrows, getting vision of your team. And it's just very difficult to be able to do much. In fact, Armel, he's just jumped in with this Orchid up. This could be dangerous as Rupido does come in, but KP is going to be there to help out, and Armel is able to just blink out of the arena. They do get BDZ, and Execration find nothing. In fact, Gabby, may just go after Ken now. He's waiting for the God Strength. Glimmer Cape there. They don't know he's around. Rubido trying to run, but he will not make it up the staircase. He will just tumble and fall. And that should mean another tower to go to TNC. I mean, just there's nothing to stop them.
Should look to their middle tower.
Yeah, 1 to 13, 12K, 17 minutes in, TNC. Perfect game. Like, this is actually perfect execution, perfect movement out. Execration, a bit lost right now. Ken's just farming on this opposite jungle where it's safe. They're also trying to build up on Yaoi. Still nowhere near what they need to find. BKB being rushed out by Faces Void. And Moonlight Shadow flies out from TNC, so they're just ready to keep this aggression up.
Dire should look to their top tower.
Oh, Execration. Grouping up again. I mean, it's just, what do you get done here? It's just so tough to find an opening. The longer you wait, though... Oh, nice chrono out. Yaoi, he's found a big target, but do they have the damage output? They'll get a spear off, and KB will drop. And believe it or not, John, that was the second kill of the game for Execration.
I mean,
it's tough.
It's better than nothing. It's better than nothing, so they find something. That was chrono blown, though. And that is Yaoi's biggest tool in finding these fights, and with that gone... Execration, they might still be able to fight with the Blink Arena, but they've still got to be super cautious. This takes your Void out of the picture. The farm is still being built up. Gabby still has the full 10-second charge BKB. Ag's coming up next, 3 parts away. So you're still seeing that steady ramp up, and Execration still don't have all the answers. They are clumping down mid.
Oh, that's a big kill. Gabby gets caught out with the spear, but the tombstone has been dropped. Do they have the damage output? Gabby's not dead yet. He does go down eventually. A great pickup, but now Febby's in and KP with a massive astral step at the Sonic Wave. BDZ trying to fight back, but it is not going to be enough. They will still fall. It's going to be a 5-for-1 trade. Honestly, John, it's a massive pickup for Execration, but you can't say it's worth it when you lost your whole team.
No. You know things are bad when you lose your entire team, and in the end, Execration still gained 161 gold for finding that kill in Gabby. So they lost their entire team. They still found 160 gold for their trouble. So in the end, it's a net positive, but you are widening that lead TNC has, and TNC can't really progress into the high ground yet, but they are just constantly using this control well. They have caught out Timstar.
Nice arrow out, BDZ. Very good on this Rubik, BDZ is, and he does manage to get another. KP sticking around. He wants that banner rune, and he has the Aghanim Scepter up now on this Void Spirit. So the silences. No, he doesn't actually. That was Armel who threw out the silence with the Orchid. Still managed to just get away. How far is that, Ags? 1.5k gold off. In the meantime, Yaoi working towards the BKB is almost there, but...
Oh, Gabby?
Yeah, Gabby just kills off Ken. And speaking of Ags, John, Gabby is not too far off his own Ags.
Yep, it's gonna be insanely fast. Like, he's level 18 as well. Compare that to, oh my god, Yaoi's still 13. Now that's such a huge gap between these pause ones. Armel's at 15 and Arlesh is at 13 as well. I mean, this is pretty ridiculous. Now, Execration again with the chronos, they can still fight back, but they need to find their targets. They can't get away with just one. If they do find one, I think they've got to pull back immediately. They've got to play the long game here. Play hit and run if they do find a pick off. Don't force their luck. TNC is playing this perfectly though. They're kind of loosely together for the most part. And when they're not, they're playing on their side of the jungle, keeping that lead up. And they've not really given too much away. Besides that one death on Gabby, they've still got control on the map. Ags is going to be done very soon, and it's just a slow ride up.
Here comes the Moonlight Shadow out from Tim's. Smoke out from Execration. This could be very bad timing as they run straight into Febby. He'll break the smoke, and both teams just back off. they still have to be a bit wary, right? Like with the chrono up, you never know. They get a big chrono off here for Yowie. It could mean a wipe for TNC.
Dire are scanning for enemy.
So they are still respecting the ability of that chrono and even the arena, of course. I personally still question whether they'll have the damage output even with the Leshrac around, but you have to pay that respect. That being said, John, Ag's now up on Gabby. Might be time to go.
Yeah, it's that big spike. You've got level 20 as well, so -5 second Stormhammer cooldowns in play, and Gabby can just fly around like Superman, no problems.
Here we go. This is... This has to be one of the most broken things I've seen in a very long time. I mean, this Aghanim Scepter is just not normal. Ara, he's about to disappear. He's gone. KP will pick up that one. Onto Yowie, who just stands still as he's TPing away and that arrow just flies past his head. They do not want to deal with that Ag Sven right now. Not with this kind of a net worth deficit. Into the Roshan pit, TNC go.
Yeah, this could be a really quick rush for them to take.
That
They've got
tombstone, John.
all their spells up. Yeah, it's a lovely one. Man, the head moves. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I can't afford it. I do have the old TI one. I feel like that's more OG, but this is definitely sick. Still, first Aegis out. They do have Chrono, but Execration's in no position to fight. Another tool going the way of TNC. 4-20. 18k up.
420.
420?
fam.
Perfect.
We hit the dream. Didn't even notice.
Tower is under attack.
That does mean we
Perfect.
sacrifice the 3-2-2 dream, though.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I don't know what I prefer. I think I prefer 3-2-2, just because that feels so much more rare as a score, right? As a score,
Bot
it's
lane.
much more rare.
Yowie. Oh, he gets the BKB off in time, gets the chrono as well, but where's your damage output? They're trying their best. KP almost dead, but no, he just won't die. He does survive as Gabby gonna start rushing forward now, looking for a target. He'll pick the Void. He doesn't care for the Leshrac at the moment. In fact, Ken, he's gonna go for a TP. Gabby can't cancel it off, but instead they can go after Rupido, who does kill off KP. It will just not matter, however. They kill him off. A 1-for-2 as Tim's arrow is not going to land on BDZ. He does manage to get away, but RR is going to be stuck and he's going to die as well. A 3-for-1 trade.
That
20k net worth lead, John, and it's getting tougher and tougher as time goes on for Execration.
Hey, that it is. At least they get the Ags up and Ken. Don't know how much of a difference that'll make, but it's there and okay, yeah.
Yeah, Ken. Orking it up. Sonic Wave. Oh, that's a nice dodge out. In fact, the damage did still connect, so Gabby just going to jump back in, but now the bashes are coming in from Yowie. He might just get Gabby, but it will just be the Aegis. Still a nice little win there for Execration. Can they get him a second time? Gabby, he pops the BKB, going after Rupido, but he is just going to be fine, just standing his ground and man fighting back. Now Yowie jumping forward onto Armel, but there goes Gabby coming back into the team fight. Armel going to survive with the soul rips out from Febby. Here comes KP, looking for an astral step back into the backlines, and they just melt so darn quick. Gabby's damage output is just insane. They're trying to buy back and fight back, but it may not be enough.
does this hurt?
That'll be 2 diebacks, or rather just buybacks, out from Execration.
Tower is under attack.
TNC will go back to that top tier 2 tower.
That was perfect.
There's nothing they can do to stop this push from happening.
No, they don't have Chrono, they don't have Arena. They will have both up in about the same time, though. There's going to be an opportunity to perhaps defend, but I think they're going to have to lose these outer towers, and they do catch one out, KP.
Oh, not quite. Dissimulate is there, and well, they tried for the spear back, but you have to guess which portal is going to come out from, and of course that is going to be rather difficult to do. KP going to be just fine. 26k net worth lead. Dota Plus is completely given up. 100%. I don't
That's
know
a
how
rare one.
It's
That's a rare one, right? Like, up against a Void, you rarely see the 0% on the opposing side.
I
It's
would
just-
agree.
you know, Dota Plus always biases that chrono, but not this game. So dire straits here for Execration. We'll see if they can do something. They've clumped up. Looks like looking for a last-ditch team fight, but they just can't see anything. They don't have really good wards. Like, it's so deep in, but TNC is just not playing there. And that does mean they don't have control in their own jungle here, Execration.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under
They grouped up as 5 here, Execration. There's definitely strength in numbers. Maybe they try for another smoke attempt. I mean, they are starting to run out of options as time goes on. They do have a smoke on RR. I mean, do you bother? TNC, they're going to show up in the mid lane now, and oh, the silence is out of the void. He still is going to survive as KP is dropping low and does go down, but now Gabby jumping in onto Ken. They do get the Yules off in time, but Ken is very low, and now Yowie gets the chrono off. A Sonic Wave out from BDZ is going to burst down Armel, but Ken is also gone. And now the stun out from Gabby, just from a mile away. Still, overall, not a bad team fight for Execration. They did get 2 cores for their trouble. And it is a fair bit of golden XP going their way.
Yeah, they get a massive amount there. Really good use of that chrono. This is not going to stop the push that comes out from TNC though. So they take the last outer tower. There is no chrono, no arena for a while. They could make some plays, but down 2 heroes, TNC, I think they understand that. Again, they've got this massive lead. No need to force issues out. Just keep playing this farm game. They've got the Silver Edge on Gabby. The Basher is going to be up next, so he's going to have control. And an Orb of Destruction. Of course, while you're ahead, why not get even more items to help you stay ahead?
I agree. Speaking of Gabby, he's found Yowie. Arrow is going to land as well from Tim's, but a nice spear out from Rupido. He's trying to just help out his Void in surviving, and Yowie is actually going to survive, but he's very low in HP. Gabby still going to fight back. He's pretty low himself. They're going to chase him down. Arena out. Gabby needs a way out of this one, or maybe he needs to just fight back, but no, he's going to go down a BDC as KP tries to fight with his team. They're going to keep going. RR going to go down as Armel jumps back in after Ken. They'll find another. Who else can they find? Febby. He's on a double. They do catch up BDC. And Armel will take that one. So overall, I mean, Gabby dies on the Sven, and again, that's going to be a lot of XP and gold to Execration, but it costs them 4 heroes for that.
Yeah, it's still net positive. Again, you look at the gold change. Lose 4 heroes for 1, still gain 494. Just the state of the game there for Execration. Still net positive, but this definitely won't stop the push. No chrono, no heroes. Tier 3 is going to fall. Without the Sven, this is a bit slower. It doesn't matter. They've got the time in the world. They force out the fortify, but they're hunting.
KP's found a big target there. And oh, that's a lot of damage out. Yowie just cannot sustain himself. It's a tough time if you are an Execration fan. They are indeed going to continue just going after that mid barracks. And well, John, if you're TNC, once Gabby respawns, I don't see why you even bother backing off.
Yeah, I mean, they could keep that chase up. Chrono's still down for a bit longer. I think TNC just kind of want to play the game a bit more, you know, and maybe they're just enjoying this, securing themselves a win. You can even see Gabby did buy the book for himself, trying to rush his 25. I don't even know if that's something he necessarily needs, but he's got 24. He's very close. Next Roche, we might see the respawn soon in about 40 seconds, so that's something TNC could wait for first. I think they might just want to build up. Like, look at Febby. Febby's also got a blink here. Isn't that
Yeah,
isn't
I
that
mean,
nice?
What's better than that, John, is Gabby's got a double damage rune to bottle
Beautiful.
up. Yeah. So, you know, Gabby may have felt like he was lacking a tiny bit of damage. This should make up for it, right? Like, I mean, he's not, you know, he didn't have quite enough. Now is when the fun starts. PDZ might be the poor victim. Gabby starts rushing forward as Armel blinks in after that Elder Titan. Yowie trying to find a chrono, does commit it onto the Sven, but look at the damage output, John. There's nothing. They're doing nothing to him. Gabby will just turn back around. Yowie cliffs himself to try and go after the tombstone. Arrow will not land. Ken is trying to fight back, but they kill off Yowie. They kill off Ken. They've called the GG on the side of Execration, and that'll be game 1. Going to the way of TNC in a very dominant fashion, might I add.
Oh boy, that was just brutal. I think that was 8 to 39, 38k lead. We hit the 420, which is really the highlight of this one. That was, I want to say it. That was a stomp, an absolute curb stomp. TNC kind of playing with her food there. Febby 7-0. Like, he is the best performer at TNC in terms of KDA. 7-0 on the Undying. He's living up to that name, Mike.
Yeah, I'd say so. Febby doing a fantastic job. And of course, we saw throughout the team fights, there was many moments where it felt like Execration was going to be able to get a big kill off, and then Febby just with the Soul Rip keeps everyone alive. His tombstone placements were very nice as well. I can't really remember seeing a tombstone being fed the way of Execration throughout this game 1. It's definitely a great time for him. Of course, John, we are going to move on to our second game of this best of 2 series between Execration and TNC Predator. Hopefully the next one's a little bit closer than this one was, but we'll wait and see. It's MLP Dota and John X Fire. We'll see you all again in about 10 minutes for our second game. We'll see you then. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here for game number 2 of this best of 2 series, and I just came off a fresh timeout, John. I've been cat jamming too much in the chat. I got debated. I got timed out for a minute. It was very, very scary, very dark where they put me, sir. But I'm back. I'm back. I've learned the error of my ways, and gotta be careful with those mods, John. They're dangerous. They're dangerous out there.
That they are. That they are. They really are. Still, we're here for game 2 of our online rambulan, or online rambutan, if you guys would know what that is. It's a very good fruit. Still, TNC took game 1 in a convincing fashion. I PM'd you about it. I said it was like watching puppies get stomped. That was a curb stomp. I don't think there's any other way to put it. There's no nice way to put it. We went past 420 into even deeper dank territory. And Execration, they've got to step up to the plate here. TNC is the heavy favorite. They have shaken up their draft here though, Mike. Mars Snap pops out, but TNC does have the Phoenix Void combo. The Snap does complicate the Void's chrono, but it's also, sometimes the Void doesn't even care.
No, generally speaking, they don't, especially if it's Gabby playing the Void. Johnny, he doesn't really seem to give too much of a crap. And, well, if he has a similar game to how he went in game 1, it's going to be a very tough time for Execration. See what they do switch up this time around to try and make it so it's not a repeat of game 1, because that was just a flat-out one-sided stomping that was there from TNC. Still, John, I noticed in the lobby you were asking about some pronunciation of a certain person's name. Have we been pronouncing Yaoi's name wrong?
Yeah, so it's a slight tweak. It's more like Yoe.
Yoe?
Yeah, I think it's like we do this sometimes in the Philippines where you kind of slang out your name. So Yoe is like Yuri. You kind of slang out the Yuri and change the R into a W. Yoe, right? You can kind of hear the Yuri there. Yoe. I guess. That's what I'm assuming, but that's what our good friends at Wombo X Combo told us in the lobby. So I'll take their word for it. I think they should know. They should know, right? So,
all right, so Yoe is the way to pronounce it,
yes.
of course.
Somewhat like that, yes.
Okay. Of course, we have the proper pronunciation for Rupido, of course. We understand that part. I'm sure Rupido is going to have a look back at the VOD and he's going to be shaking his head the whole time. Like these idiot casters just making fun of my name. We're not Rupido. We're having a good old time, and we're doing the proper pronunciation, John. We're both cultured men. We are both cultured men here. We know what we're doing. So Yoa is
Yahweh. Yoe. Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a tough one for me. I'm going to have to work on this one. Still, the ban stages is going on right now. Of course, we do see the Magnus ban out from Execration, and there are still yet to be 2 more bans to come out. We'll have to wait on those, John. Overall, though, I'm thinking back to game 1. Yep. I don't necessarily think that TNC completely outdrafted Execration. It seemed more of a outplaying situation, especially if we think back to that mid lane where RML started off with the first blood and a double kill. That seems to be where it really all went wrong. Is RML then just had a completely free game. Of course, Gabby had a completely free game as well, just farming the top lane just completely freely. And 6 minutes in, had the Mask of Madness up, just started farming like a madman, and just didn't really feel like he even needed the Aghanim Scepter on that Sven. Even if he didn't have it, it just wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, he was just getting the damage off, and he was so farmed up. Honestly, I feel like he could have gotten away with, say, a Daedalus Rush instead of his conservative play. He went for the Silver Edge. He was playing it safe. He was playing it smart. But I think he could have gone way greedier there. For me, I think the moment when Execration really fell apart wasn't from laning. I think it took a little bit longer. Where it truly started to crumble apart was when they did that triple smoke. Like they smoked once, they lost it. I know they smoked twice in a row because of a mistake. And then they pop another smoke after they already wasted their scan and were already spotted out before. That's when it really fell apart. I think that showed us a bit of a tunnel vision effect on Execration, which hopefully they've shaken off some of that mental wear and tear. They go with the ET now, so with a Mars Snap, they've got a lot of team fight here. But TNC have this Shadow Demon coming through, and we've seen what Shadow Demon can do in laning. It's also a very stable way of saving anyone caught out in the arena spear, and also canceling off the kisses from the snap. So you've got options now on how to deal with any of those spells that come through. Shadow Demon's going to give you a lot of value here.
Well, I think this is one of the supports right now that is very. You were frozen for a sec there, and you were pouting, John. It was very cute. It's like you were taking a selfie. I feel like Shadow Demon is one of those supports right now that is very undervalued, especially in this current like stacking meta that we have, where it's so much of the current meta is about getting those neutrals stacked up in the jungle and just kind of getting an advantage in terms of net worth doing that. We saw it last game, and we'll see it again, I'm sure, especially with this Shadow Demon pickup. It's a very potent pick to have. Still Execration. They do go into the Void Spirit. A nice strong pick in the current meta as well. Should allow them quite a bit of a team fight potential. I do believe this should be a mid Void Spirit as well coming up for Execration.
10 seconds remain.
Yeah, it does look that way. Could be probably their mid, but they have some flexibility with a mid snap, which has really faded out of popularity. I guess you've also got the Mars mid. If your matchup is really that bad, I don't necessarily see anything that the Mars would excel over the Void. Still TNC, build up this draft great, go into the Bat Rider that we have seen constantly banned out as well. So Execration have very limited options here. They don't have anything to stop the lasso. There might be room for an LC or an Oracle or Abaddon, but it doesn't really line up with this draft well at all. So I'd say probably not looking at any way of purging off that lasso. TNC's going to get a lot of value from the Bat Rider here. If they lane it mid, whether or not it's the Void or Mars, doesn't matter too much to Bat. It'd be really good if that is our RML here. Of course, that could just be KPs. So a lot of flexibility still for TNC going into that last pick as well.
I would agree. Final banouts now. The Spectre Slaughter being removed. Looks like TNC will just focus in on those position ones, as it does appear that that's what Execration is currently missing. Funnily enough, the Sven is still available. What are you laughing at, Jonathan?
I was looking at chat. So this is when we were clarifying how to pronounce Yoa's name, right? And
Yeah.
everyone's just saying, let's yell Yawa. Just say Yawa. It's like, nah, guys, nah. I will
Well,
say it now because I can get away with it. You can say it as well, Yawa.
Yawa.
Just say it once.
What does that
Yeah,
mean,
just-
John?
Well, it's a curse word, Mike.
Well, why would you tell me to say it then, John?
Because it's fun. It's what we yell here. It's like, you know, we're very expressive here in this part of the country, so you just kind of just toss it out there. Of course, you used to get spanked for it as a kid, but
Do I want to know what it means? Is there a nice way of telling me what it means, John?
it's literally a curse. So it's basically the devil. For
Okay.
some reason, that's an extreme way of saying the devil, and
Right.
it's apparently a bad word, but it's literally like devil, but in a very severe way. I don't know. Still, what I do know is this last pick for TNC, the Underlord comes through, so we could be seeing that Bat mid. Maybe the Underlord mid for RML. I'm not sure if they want to flex it that way. Should be KP. Really solid lineup here. All of these heroes play well with Chrono, have stable timings, stable lanes.
Oh,
Expiration
no.
close out with a surprise Arc Warden.
No.
I don't know about that one, though.
You know what scares me, John? Is the new patch is set to drop in maybe 3-4 days, right? They're waiting on Epic League to finish, I'm sure, before they drop the new patch. I'm really afraid that this hero is going to get buffed. So I don't think it's received a buff in a while. And I don't think it's picked up often enough for Ice Frog's liking, you know? Like, you think about the POS ones right now, the Spectres, the Svens, the PAs, the Voids. I'm really afraid they're going to buff this Arc Warden. And on top of that,
yeah,
on top of that, John, one hero that really hasn't seen a buff for a very long time is the Tinker. So if you can imagine, my biggest fear right now, John, is that we have a patch where Arc Warden gets buffed, and then Tinker gets buffed. And then we have a patch for the next 6 to 7 months where all we see is two of these cores that just push non-stop, and nobody's ever able to finish the game. I am very afraid of that happening.
Hopefully that doesn't happen. We can all kind of hope for the best. We'll see when the patch does roll around. Still, when it comes down to this draft, I think you and I will agree with this. Like, the last pick Arc Warden is kind of interesting, and the Arc Warden can do a lot of work. But I do see, I look at TNC's draft, I look at this Gabby faces Void, and I'm wondering what the heck Execration can actually do. Like, there is absolutely nothing to counter it except the Arc Warden's bubble. And even then, that's not going to be a big worry when it actually comes to fights with a Chrono. I don't think the Void's going to worry about that too much at all.
I would agree. Well, good lucks are coming out. Of course, both these teams appear to be, like, quite close. I'm sure they play a lot of games with each other. It's all in good spirit, these tips coming out, of course. Gabby, Mel giving it over to RR. Heavy, giving the good luck. Poor guy still probably doesn't know what's going on between these two. He's just here doing his job.
Yeah,
Gabby's going to say hello to FBZ.
Zombie high five. Just standing around.
Oh, don't be rude.
Wants it back.
Don't be rude, BDZ. I said FBZ, by the way.
Consider yourself
We all
BDZ.
miss Boom ID.
I
Boom
do.
Esports. Pop up here. Come on. Don't leave him hanging. Give him the high five. BDZ's asking for it. Armel. You know what he just said? So BDZ's like, give me a high five, and Armel's like, in your face? And BDZ's like, you're really full of it. Clever Armel. Look at you.
It's like a 2-for-2 bounty trade. No. Yoa does. See, I can't pronounce that one. I mean, it's gonna be
Yoa. You got it.
Yoa.
You got it. Yeah, Yoa.
Yoa. Alright, Yoa does manage to get the bounty. Did RR get the other one? No. Tim's managed to get it, but it is a 3-for-1 trade. So it definitely is a very nice start for Execration.
Yeah, it's a good injection of gold. This is going to help them accelerate fast. You do want to hit certain item timings quick, especially that Arc Warden. Might is going to be key here. They are going to split up their lanes, of course. We are seeing RR sticking with that Arc Warden. Yoe, and KP is up there. They're going to be laning up against that and the Shadow Demon played by Tims. This is a really potent combo once you've got some levels up. You get Pit of Malice up, a value point in it, and then you get Disruption off. That could be a guaranteed kill if you get enough damage on, so you do have to be careful with how you position yourself here if you are Execration.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, over in the mid lane as well, you have Armel there up against Ken. Now, they put the Mars in the mid lane up against this Batrider, John, but I'm not really sure that's going to be very suitable here for Ken. Of course, you do have the opportunity to spear away the Batrider. In fact, hold that thought, because top lane, KB...
Ooh.
Getting very, very low and being forced back all the way to the fountain. Doesn't bother trying to go back towards that tier 1 tower. But the point I was trying to make in this mid lane is for Ken on this Mars, you do have the opportunity to just kind of spear the Batrider away, assuming he does get on top of you and start using that Firefly. But even then, it should be a very tough lane for Ken.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy time. You can see him dancing on Colts right now. 9 sticky napalm stacks. Fortunately, Armel has no option to use that. And because he went with his early Magic Wand start, there's a lot of burst healing available for Ken. So he can kind of dance around here. He's maximizing this early part of lane well. He's not lagging too far behind that Batrider. And I think that's all you can hope for right now. Like, once Armel hits level 4 or 5, even if this lane doesn't win out for him, he's going to have a better time in that jungle farm.
Of course, bot lane as well. Febby, he's fallen low twice in a row now on that Phoenix. Barely getting away with the slither of HP each time. Does manage to salve up now, and he's going to be just fine. Has the passive Ring of Regen just to keep him up slowly but surely. And BDZ has to be slightly cautious. He gets bashed one more time, he's gone. But the Aether Remnant going to be there to make sure that Gabby can't go for that attempt. Rubido making sure he does take care of his support Snapfire. So make sure BDZ does get the salve off and it's going to be just fine. Well, Armel, looks like he did end up going for that Firefly attempt. In fact, he's still going on to Ken. Ken is going to be just fine, however. He went for the spear into the tree line, and that did mean that Armel was stunned up. Actually, Ken, don't go back into the fire. He gets a spin off. He does not have the God's Rebuke available right now, so Armel, he can just chase him down. And he'll get the first blood. Armel now will die. BDZ, he did not make it in time to get the XP, John. He got nothing. Armel gave nothing away for that.
That is not good news for the side of Execration, and there goes the tips. These guys in TNC, man, they are having fun. And of course, they're all friends. We know it. You know, it's just the kind of thing you'd find, and like when you run into your usual opponents in an internet cafe. It's still rough. Like Ken, I mean, we said this lane would always be tough. Armel now level up, a full level up, mind you. Means that he's gonna have a good time harassing Ken, and he's gonna have an easy time clearing out some jungle camps for himself.
And now, yeah, I mean, you've already pointed it out, but Armel is just going to dominate the lane now, this Batrider. It's BDZ, of course, going to be there to try and help out. Firefly is going to be popped, and Armel will just be able to run away with that bonus speed. In fact, he might turn around. If he did have more of a creep wave, he definitely would have considered it.
Ooh.
Instead, he finds a haste rune to bottle up, so gets a power rune anyway. And his lane continues to just get that much better. Just continue enjoying himself in this mid lane. And as he's doing that, I mean, every other lane for TNC is going just fine. Like Gabby, top of the CS board right now. Rupido right behind him on the Void Spirit. I suppose the top lane isn't going as well as they would have hoped for KB. He is currently sitting at 15-1, so it's not all bad news for him on the Unlord either. I'd say overall, they are still on track to try and get themselves another good game going.
Yeah, it's a really even start on the board. Are seeing some good zoning here from RR, so he should be able to secure himself the bounty runes as he misses out. Now he does manage to grab it, so you are in a pretty good spot to start trading hits here. Trading farm is looking good, although down mid.
Yeah, Armel, he really wants a kill. BDZ is going to go down. You don't really necessarily need the Firefly or the Flame Break to get the kill. Your right-click damage is just so high with those sticky napalm stacks, so he just goes in and kills it. No problems here for Armel.
Yeah, no, all those movements out really frees up those side lanes. So even if they're dragging heroes down to Armel, they're not losing too much as the heroes of TNC can be independent.
He's going to turn around. Nice setup there from BDZ. Able to give a kill over to the Void Spirit, and it's going to be a very nice feeling here for Rupido. And Gabby is still farming up very nicely though, and that's going to be a big problem as RR now getting very low. Armel makes a rotation up towards the top lane and does get himself another kill on this Batrider.
Yeah, and he gets to clear out some stacks as well, so there's a lot of gold. Going towards our Batrider, going to be a very fast Boots of Travels on Armel. This has given some space for Tims to soak down mid. Of course, that is also going to help Ken bounce back here as the lane's freed up, but they're starting to look for some pressure. They know they've given Yoe a lot of space to farm up, so it's time to contest that Arc Warden and apply some pressure before the Midas flies out.
It is definitely a good time for Yoe though. Like 31-13 on the Arc Warden, having a very nice time. You pointed out that Midas. I mean, it's definitely coming sooner rather than later. Going to be a decent timing here for this Arc Warden. Looks like Armel does eventually end up just leaving the lane, going back towards the mid lane, and he's level 7. No points in Lasso quite as of yet, so just wanting to keep up this farm for now. Not too interested in trying to chase down an Arc Warden yet. I suppose even once the Midas is up, although it's going to really help him escalate and farm, it's not going to be the end of the world yet. I mean, you're really looking for that later stage of the game for the Arc Warden to become kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. Arena out.
Is there. Cookie also out from BDZ, but the damage is not quite there yet. Armel, he just turns back around with the Firefly. BDZ also going to go down, and Febby is the one to pick up the double kill on the Phoenix. And he does deserve it, John. As Fire Spirits and the Sunray really just allowing that double kill to happen in the first place.
Yeah, just good timing from Febby to head down mid. Really good turnaround there. That was Execration on the offensive. So they got a lot more from TNC, and they to start to put themselves in a good spot to work this map. Like that forced a response out from Execration. The side lanes are kind of freed up here.
So they are going to make a bit of a chase here onto Tims. That bot lane. Tims going very, very far in. He's going to get stunned up, and Well, they'll leave it to the Void Spirit. In fact, the gold is going to be split. The Creep's got it. So, bit unfortunate for our Void Spirit, but he's going to be alright with that. Back down to the bot lane for him. He'll just keep farming himself up. I've got to say, they might start getting somewhat concerned soon about the fact that Gabby is farming uncontested. Now, he has been for the past 8.5 minutes now. Again, we've seen Gabby on this Void many times. He does tend to become a powerhouse if he is left like this. But top lane, looks like KP going to get caught out still. Yoe trying to get the kill, does get it, but the lasso now going to be out from Armel. Yoe still surviving, but no, the Pit of Malice is going to hold him into the Firefly. Still Armel now going to go down. So not all bad news. They do end up getting 2 calls. In fact, they might even get Tims now. Rupido is going to come in on the Void Spirit. Tims trying to run. The spear will miss, and the Sun Ray is going to help him out as Febby. He's not level 6 yet, so he can't drop the egg. BDZ does not connect to the Scatter Blast, and the disruption is going to be there. In fact, KB going to come in now, but they have already killed off Tims. But Rupido is out of Astral Step charges. Has some in 2 seconds, so he should be okay. But Armel is now on the chase. He will commit. But the Flame Break is going to connect, and that should mean the Void Spirit is eventually going to die. A very back and forth team fight.
Yeah, it's really even across the board in this game too. So Execration starting to find some decent trades. TNC's not really giving out any big of a lead, so it's very even in net worth as well. Less than 1k difference between both teams. The big upside is, he talked about Gabby having free farm. He's got his Midas up a bit earlier than Yoe here does. So a slight lead on Gabby there. You're still going to have a good timing into Midas. It will take a little bit more time for Arc Warden to be a full menace though. So you've got to give space out to Yoe, build up that farm, really maximize this Midas, and just avoid fights every time Gabby's got the chrono. Like, without the Mask of Madness, Gabby's probably not going to look for those opportunities as much. He is still just going to have a really good time farming up. So I think it's on Execration to actually punish the Void for going for this really greedy build. It's just that they've not been allowed to really roam past mid all too often.
That they have not. A bit of a smoke up here from Execration now. They're trying to sneak into the Radiant jungle, and they are going to perhaps run into KB. Not going to be too hard to get this kill, especially with those Mortimer's Kisses if they do throw them out. But for now, they've held out. They will eventually get the kill now, but Armel is going to be around with Tims, and they are going to at least try to get BDZ. Not quite the trade that TNC would want, but Execration are going to be very happy about that. Now Febby going onto RR, trying to find a bit more for their trouble. Aether Remnant going to be able to lock down Armel for a little bit, as RR is going to be able to run away. So overall, pretty darn good for Execration.
Yeah, it's a really strong trade for them. Again, staying even on the board. There is a smoke now from TNC though, but they do have Egg, they do have Chrono. It's just they're not playing with Gabby, so they're going to have to try to use that Egg in a very smart way. I'm not sure if they'll even find a big opportunity, but the 2 supports are hunting.
Yeah, they'll give it a crack. Tims and Febby moving up. Febby got plenty of wards there to place down and get some vision out. Gabby gonna jump in, does have the chrono, doesn't really want to commit it just onto RR. Yoe will show himself, and a nice stomp is there into the cookie of BDZ, but Disruption is gonna save Gabby from dying. Can he get himself out? He does time walk. Now Rupido trying to jump in, but the lasso's out and the chrono gonna hold them back. The Tempest Double was the only one in the chrono, but they wanted to make sure it had no influence, and it did not. Overall, a nice little win there for TNC, finding a 2-for-0 trade.
Yeah, it's a really good use of their combo. First time we've seen the chrono fly out from Gabby, so a little bit slower than we're used to seeing from Gabby, but it ends up a pretty significant chrono. A nice depth of kills going their way. Widens the lead to 3Ks, breaking that deadlock and giving TNC a clear lead here. They can't quite transition to a full objective. They are not the fastest pushing team, which is one side of the draft of TNC in comparison to Execration, but Execration for their part can't really do too much to go hunting Widow spells down. Like, they know Chrono, they know Lasso, and they know Eggs down. It's just that they're still sort of under farmed here. Like, Rupido can jump in, but he doesn't have follow-up, doesn't have the guaranteed control. They will smoke up though.
They will. Down towards the south they go.
Dire's bottom tower is in danger.
Armel does show himself in front of that range creep, so they know where the Batrider is. They are going to start heading that way. Ken with this blink should be able to set up onto this bat as the Firefly is ending now, and Armel is in massive trouble and looks like he is going to go down. Nice gank out from Execration. They do find themselves another important pick-off. Armel was at the top of the net worth board, and well, it's probably the best hero you could have asked for.
Yep, it does allow them to also transition to an objective if they wanted to. They've got the real Yoa there as well, although their mid is under pressure, so they're going to have to send a couple of bodies out to prevent the full push.
Nice spear back from Ken, but the Earth Split is now just going to be a complete whiff. Sunray's going to come in from Febby, keeping KP alive. Now they do jump in onto the Phoenix instead, and they do get themselves a kill, but Gabby is going to be in with the time dilation, trying to find a target. He'll go after RR. No Lucky Pasha's coming out. He finally gets some going for himself, but Yo is coming in on the Arc Warden. Instead, they'll go after Tim's now with the Mortimer's Kisses out, but another spear there from Ken. That is going to set up onto the Shadow Demon. In fact, they even found KP in the stomp out from RR with an Aether Remnant out now from their Void Spirit. They try to jump in with a Spirit onto Armel. He's looking for a lasso. He'll end up finding that Void Spirit. Rupido trying to find his way out, but he has no way out. He will die. Gabby does have a chrono if he wants to commit. Sunray will be there, and time dilation also will be thrown out. RR still a bit too fast. Gabby trying to get the kill, does eventually get it, and now Yoe gonna jump in. Does he not realize the chrono's there? Maybe he just doesn't. Oh no. A big whiff out from Gabby. Very unfortunate, but a nice backstep there from Yoe, and well, that's gonna pay off dividends now for the side of Execration. In fact, Arena spear there set up from Ken, and that's gonna be Gabby gone. Just a disastrous set of events coming out now for TNC.
They really overextended there. Good punishment out from Execration. That does give them some leeway to maybe chip away on their own objectives. They have not actually taken that bot tier 1. That could be the safer play as they do circle their heroes around. Maybe hunt down Tim's. Not the biggest target, but should be straightforward if they do commit. TNC for their part, they are down Chrono. They are up Egg and Lasso though. Lasso in a bit. So they can have some options to fight. They would probably just want to wait for Gabby to be ready to go. So Gabby did go for the Massive Madness build after his Midas. Just again, a little bit of a greedy farming build here for Gabby, which does mean that if he does keep dying like this, Yahweh will get a little bit more from his Arc Warden.
No.
It's just
Mid lane, Ken going to get jumped on. They do have the Pit of Malice holding him down, and now the lasso is going to be out onto RR. They'll kill off Ken onto RR. They get another nice, easy kill. And I mean, the last team fight, they look terrible, but TNC, they just don't care about that. In fact, they found Yoen now. That's a massive target to catch out, and they will get him. In fact, they will also get the Tempest double, it looks like. It's, of course, quite a bit of gold, and Gabby will take it. Plus 240 for him.
It's just big wins for TNC. They widen that gap back to 6k. Their end 16 to 12 at 17 minutes in. They can't quite full commit, but ooh.
Yeah, Armel, he's not done. He finds another one up towards the top lane. The only survivor is Rupido on the Void Spirit. He was just farming it out and pushing out the bot wave. Now mid lane, Ken gonna jump in with the arena out. Onto that Phoenix, Febby. He's gonna go down very easily.
Yeah, it's something for nothing at the least. But it's, again, not the biggest target to lose here for TNC, not the biggest target to find for Execration. They still need a lot of room to grow here on Execration's end. We're looking at an Arc Warden. That's about 3k behind the Faceless Void. That's not the spot you want this hero to be in. He needs to be off to a running start in terms of farm. He needs to keep these lanes shoved out, keep the pressure up on the objectives, and we haven't seen that come out yet from Yoe. So he needs these travels up soon. There's just so little space now. You can see how many sentries they've planted to keep their triangle safe. But it's just not enough space to really get a running start off on an Arc Warden this late in.
No, it definitely isn't, John. Execration, they're just going to chill out for a bit, sit back and relax, but TNC, they know nothing of that. However, smoke is going to be revealed because they do run into that Wraith Spirit or whatever the hell it's called, lasso is going to be out onto the Elder Titan, and now the Chrono. This time it does land. They found the Arc Warden, and Yoe, he's going to die. Hit a Mantle out from KP, catching two as well. Gabby, he's falling low, but he is able to get the Time Walk off in time. Onto BDZ. Rupido trying to fight back, but he is all by himself, and he's going to die by himself. The only survivor will be Ken on the Mars, and he just ran away. He could not do anything to help them out. That Gabby, going for a Roshan, is going to find Ken. Spear Arena is there, but Disruption is going to save. And, well, they'll let Ken know they are very happy about that. But Gabby just jumping back into the walls, has to be careful. But Ken is almost guaranteed to die, and he will eventually go down now. And perhaps you're not healthy enough to go for a Roshan, but you've got a 10k net worth lead, John. I don't think TNC mind.
No, definitely not. They've widened the gap once more. 22 to 13 here, Mike. Sub 20 minutes in. Look at that win probability from Dota Plus. 94% the way of TNC now. Look at how the farm distribution is working out for TNC as well. Gabby and Armel very dead even in terms of net worth. Way beyond Yoa. And Yoa is going to need to find some space somehow. The Mjolnir is just about being assembled up. Is he flying out travels? No, he actually has to skip the travels. So if you're not seeing the split push coming out here, it just they've lost way too much early on, and it's down to that one key rotation up top. That one time they found him really offset that Midas timing long enough that he was always going to be behind that Faceless Void.
And he was. Now they'll go back for that Roshan. TNC, they'll get started, and I mean, in terms of trying to counter this Roshan play, there's not really much you can do. You've just got to kind of accept the fact that it's going to go down no matter what you do. Even with all the ultis up for Execration, I mean, maybe they could win the team fight, but they're not going to find out in time anyway. It's just gone. So another little advantage now for TNC. Gabby, he's going to have Chrono up in 20 seconds, but they will go straight for a smoke. And in fact, that smoke could be very well timed. As well, in the middle of this team fight that is coming up, the Chrono is probably going to be up, and they have found Ken. Spear is going to be preemptively thrown out, but it is not going to land. And Armel, he doesn't even want to lasso Ken. He doesn't believe Ken deserves the lasso. Turns out he doesn't. As Armel going for more now, running straight south. He might run into BDZ. Pings are coming out. BDZ trying to juke them away. TP is going to be just fine. Meanwhile, Gabby, Dark Rifted up towards the top lane, looking for this Arc Warden. Yoe has backed off and is going to be within safety.
Yeah, and, it's still a good pickup for TNC. They would have loved to get more. A good scan out from Execration does spot the rotation of Gabby. Though again, he's sitting on a Chrono. He wants to use it. Does not have the backup of his Phoenix. So I think you've got to watch yourself. You are a bit far out from Febby. But Execration dodge as well. They go to the triangle. They're getting some farm up. Travels is picked up first by Yoe. So he does hold off on the Mjolnir. And Execration actually smoke up. This could be something big if they do catch out Armel, which they were pinging out, but he's going to TP.
He will. The real killing blow here for Execration is going to be once Gabby has that MKB up on this Void. Aether Remnant going to be there onto Armel, but he's going to be just fine. He just walks away. It's just kind of a bit of a threat being thrown out by Rupido, but it doesn't really lead to anything. But that tier 2 mid tower now going to be in a spot of bother here. No MKB quite yet, but it doesn't really matter. They have plenty of damage output if they do go for a big team fight in a Chrono. Not to mention, of course, Gabby does still have the Aegis. Armel is going to get a lasso off. He has caught out the Master Ken. Going to be in massive danger. A massive stomp out. It just won't matter, though. He does die anyway, and now they found the Void Spirit. He's trying to dissimulate out, and he will go for the Astral Step up towards the high ground. But what do you do about this? Like, you're so far behind in farm. It's just very hard to imagine being able to pull the comeback off.
They've got to play a perfect high ground, which is just so difficult. They rely on getting good arena off with kisses, along with a stomp follow-up in your ET. But it's a very hard game to hope for the perfect initiation here. And every single time, they just don't have enough damage. You've got this tanky frontliner in KP. Even Gabby is fairly tanky as well. They have nothing to mitigate the heals. And they hold off on the high ground at the least, but that tier 3 has taken some significant damage. And as you mentioned, TNC, they still hold on to that Aegis. So it looks like they might be able to wait out long enough with the Aegis into the MKB before forcing anything big.
Oh, Yoe, he might lose this Tempest double as well. No, it's going to be alright. Gabby won't bother trying to go after it. He'd rather the creep wave. Just let it expire. Just finish off that MKB now. Yoe, he is still farming quite nicely. I don't really like the fact that there's a Midas right now that's available to be used, but, you know, there's no creeps around for him to use it on, so it's going to make the long run down towards the south to actually find a camp to Midas. There we go. But while he was doing that, the tier 2 top tower is going to drop.
It's not clean trades for Execration. They're just losing map control. TNC constantly setting up for the high ground, and oh, lasso.
Yeah, Mel just straight onto the high ground, does catch out RR, and that's going to mean RR's gone. Mel seems to believe this game is very lame. As he continues to kill people off this Bat Rider. Rubido going to try to get some damage out. Gabby is falling low, but he's going to time walk all of it off. And the Sunray's just going to heal them all up through the Mortimer's Kisses. They are a bit low in mana for that Chrono, but, you know, he could just die and get a reset if he really wants to with that Aegis. But it looks like he's going to walk away happily.
Yeah, it's an awkward time to suicide Aegis because they've got, like, what, a second? It should expire soon, and does. So, good timing in pulling out. They are getting jumped, though.
Yeah, they're Splitter going to fly through. There are... I just don't see how you commit to the jump if you're Execration. Like, it has to be on the high ground. You are lacking your Mortimer's Kisses as well, which makes it that much harder, as well as the Earth Splitter now. And on top of that, John, there's your MKB now for Gabby.
Ooh, he's pretty much all set. Like, he's got the damage in his right clicks. Doesn't have too much to worry about. I think Execration now. You mentioned it, but the high ground's got to be where they play. Split push as well with the Arc Warden's got to come up and really be effective, although Armel.
I mean, he's just so confident. Lasso out, Gabby, Chrono going to connect on two right in the back lines. They get rid of RR. Now BDZ also going to die. Rupido trying to run. He does Astral Step once, but he is just going to step into his own death. And it just doesn't seem to end for Execration. The torture will continue. In fact, down at the bot lane, Armel trying to set up onto Yoe. Armel might be in danger, or maybe he just isn't. I don't know if they have the damage output. Dark Rift coming in. Yoe has been called out. He'll try to use the magnetic field, but it just doesn't matter. Gabby has the MKB. He will go through the evasion of the bubble. 18k net worth lead for TNC, and with the way they're playing, John, you'd think TNC are late for dinner.
Yeah, it does look like that. Like they're trying to rush out. I mean, they just had Merienda as well, though, right? Like Armel's had his Merienda. That's why he's on point. So I don't know if it's right to rush for dinner like this. Execration does look like they need a little bit of fuel in the tank. 18k behind here, Mike. High ground being sieged. They don't have their Arc Warden. Their options are limited.
They are. Tom is going to be there. Gabby will cop it. He doesn't have that Aegis left. Force Staff, Earth Splitter, all going to be there, but it just doesn't do enough as Gabby now goes onto RR, and the Lasso is going to catch out Ken on that Mars. He does pop his BKB, but can he fight back with this? He's trying to find a way in for an arena. He'll go for a spear back onto KP, but that is the tankiest target on the map right now. Rupido is been left behind. He'll dissimulate and try to astral step away. He'll make it out in time, but they just can't fight TNC. They're slowly chipping away. KP, he's starting to get low. He's been disrupted. Sunray is going to be stopped by a massive stomp out from RR. They do get one. Arena now, going to be placed by Ken. Perhaps they even kill off Tims, and they will. Onto more. Miss out onto Armel. Febby also will be able to TP away, and Gabby will just do the old-fashioned run back to the base. So overall, not too bad. They do get a core and a support kill. And it's not like that's really going to change the game, but it does buy them more time.
Yep, they are stalling out. I think that's all you can hope for right now in Execration. Like you've got Arc Warden. The hero can turn games around if you do get enough farm. They are also starting to build up a bit in their early heroes. It's just that again.
Gabby was the second off Chrono. Loves going after RR. Does just kill him off. Lets Armel get the kill with the Firefly. Onto the lasso. They caught out BDZ. And BDZ, he just picked up his Aghanim Scepter. Well, now they're going to know about it without a surprise reveal. Will end up dying without buyback.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. I think their first gobble up was towards the mid-tier 1 when no one else is there. So they miss out on revealing that item in a big way. And
Kenny blinks away in time. He does spot them out for a second. Gabby knows he's run south. Does he go for the blind Chrono? No, he does not. Doesn't want to waste it.
Scanning for enemies.
The rest of Execration, I mean, they were looking to try and find a pick-off, but there's nobody around.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
It's a very tough position.
it really is. That gap continues to grow. They are putting all their eggs in one basket in Yoe, so he has to deliver on this Arc Warden. And I see that network gap between Yoe and Gabby. It's way too big. It's still about a 4K gap. That's an Arc Warden that's had, a fairly decent timing in Midas. Not the fastest as well. There's just not enough. Like, he's forced to join these fights early on. He's been dying a lot relative to what you'd want from an Arc Warden. So the build-up's just been painfully slow, and you need a lot more in Yoe before anything can happen. I think they need to play around that gobble up into Arena. That's how they have to play. So it's down to BDZ and Ken, or BDZ and Rupido. Get the gobble up into Remnant or Spear and just kind of find pickoffs that way. They just have no space in the map. Look at the wards from TNC. It's just all over the place. They know the movements of Execration and can avoid any sort of rotation out just fine.
Yeah, I mean, while you're saying that, John, Gabby's just freely taking Roshan. There's no contest to be had, and it's a very easy task. Another Aegis, a cheese as well. Gabby will give that over to Armel. On the brighter side, Yoe does now have the Eye of Skadi up, so you have got a bit more potential here to maybe kill off Gabby on that Void. Mind you, Gabby is 10, 1, and 8 right now, so he is worth a lot of gold on this Void. Can secure a kill, you'd be sitting very happy for Execration. Gabby is in prime position now to jump in for a big chrono. Does have the blink up. Will spot out Rupido, but won't go for that. Dark Rift down to the bot lane. It looks like they have found out Ken. As well as that, there is also a Tempest double, and they'll go ahead and try to claim that as well. Why the hell not?
Yeah, it's just rinse and repeat. Like, they back off, they find a pick off, maybe they start to play with this numbers advantage now. They haven't popped any ult besides Dark Rift. Gabby makes his way up top with his TP onto the outpost, so he can just start laying onto those objectives once more, and he does. He's pump faking Chrono as well. Unfortunately, his creep wave is behind, so there's not much Gabby can do until that catches up.
No. Let's pop the BKB, and now goes for a lasso attempt onto our Void Spirit. They do have Chrono, but Gabby just blinks straight into the high ground. Looking for more, and looks like they will just try to settle for the Void Spirit, and they do get him. It took them a while, but they do eventually get there, and Now, Gabby, he was trying to get a pick greedy, trying to find the back lines of Execration, but they had already run all the way back to the fountain.
Yeah, it's I think it's perfectly fine. Like, they still find that kill. They're still going through the back door. They've got the creep wave up at last, and they can finally lay onto the melee racks.
Well, here they go. Pit and Malice does catch out RR again, but Yoeware is going to lose the Tempest double first. A nice stomp out. They might be able to kill off Gabby with Armel. He goes for a lasso on to Cannon. Now the Chrono committed. Gabby, he's low in HP, but he will have just enough to kill off BDZ on the Snapfire. Meanwhile, Ken's still surviving, but Gabby, he's going to go for a bit of a man fight in the back lines. In fact, no, he's not, but he's debated KB into going back there as well. He'll Dark Rift, though, and it looks like he's going to be fine. Gabby jumps into the taxi just before it leaves. They get the mid-racks, and that'll pretty much be it. They do pack off. The TNC continue to extend this huge net worth lead they have.
I mean, they're paying respects to the power that Execration does have on hand. You saw how much damage was flying out from our Tempest double as soon as the procs were coming in from Mjolnir, so there's still a lot of damage in the pool here for Execration, and TNC's just, they're kind of toying around, but at the same time they understand their limits. So they're not giving any opportunity for Execration to bounce back in, and they're just pulling back, rinsing and repeating, and keeping that hunt on.
That they are. It's like Armel's not done either. He wants more lassos. Got that Octarine core. Oh, they just throw the Tempest double straight in. Yoeware. He's going to try and kill off Armel, but a lasso is going to be there onto Rupido, and it looks like he is just going to die, and Armel is just going to walk away scot-free. Gabby will take another kill for himself on the Void.
Yeah, I'd say that's a fair way to play it, though. Like, you've got this amazing initiation. The Tempest double, again, does so much damage. You saw how low Armel was dropping if he didn't get that backup. So it's probably the safest way for Execration to find that Hail Mary play. It's just that there's no easy target. I think if you can find the supports, you'd be happiest with that right now. But Armel's probably the easiest core, and even then, he's fairly tanky with what he has, so you might want to settle for supports for now. But TNC, they just go back to the high ground. Gabby, Chrono's still out for 40, but the melee racks doesn't look like it'll hold too long this time around.
Oh, they're still going after this mid-racks. I could have sworn it was already gone, but I mean, they've been fighting so much. So they've been kind of ignoring it this whole time as Armel go for a bit of a blink into the back lines. Won't quite be able to catch anyone out. Like Yoeware will threaten Gabby with this Tempest double, and it will be enough for him to back off. Yoeware is going to die. Tempest double, that is. Armel, oh, he's been used up. The 8th of Remnant going to be there, but Armel is able to get the BKB off in time. Looks like with that BKB on cooldown, they don't want to try and dive any further. That'll pretty much be it for TNC for now. In all fairness, they could just keep extending this net worth lead. There's nothing to really slow them down here.
No, it's slow and steady wins the race here for TNC. No rush, no giving up opportunities towards Execration. Again, the high ground defense is fairly strong if they land all their spells, so they're just paying respect to that. Still, Chrono's back up for Gabby. So if there was anything to be scared of, now should be the moment, as they do have this massive teamfight spell ready. But Execration are staying disciplined, and they're just slowly but surely kind of forcing TNC to play this chip game here.
It's a very slow game. In Yoeware, I mean, this is what you get when you have an Arc Warden in the game, right? Like, the game just...
Yeah.
It always gets dragged out, because you could just keep defending high ground over and over again without ever really risking your life. The negative, of course, for Execration is, while they have that Arc Warden, the net worth is not really going up their way at all. It continues to just climb for TNC. I suppose the idea is eventually TNC is just going to have such a big lead that you just can't really contest them anymore. And on top of that, of course, John, they are going to have access to all these neutral items much earlier than Execration.
Yeah, and they find some pretty big ones as well. Spell Prism coming through, so that cooldown is going to be great for Armel. of course, and he's had his Octarine for a while, so having these reductions are going to be big. They smoke up. They've got a lot of items in play. They just want to reveal them. Butterfly up on Gabby means he hits like a truck, and they shouldn't be too scared now. Like, they've got these spikes with the tier 4s. They smoke up, and we'll see if they can find someone as, again, Execration, all the way behind their tier 4s for the most part.
That's it. Be the last-ditch defense as Gabby has a DD rune. He's found Yoe. That's the real one. He doesn't pop the chrono yet, though. He's held out, but Armel does get the lasso. Arena being dropped. They're trying to fight back, but Yoe, he's way too low, and he will die without buyback. Now the chrono comes out. They've got Ken in there, and they will just burst him down. He'll buy back, though. Onto KP they go. They want the Underlord at least. He's still surviving as Gabby apparently just kills off RR. Now Armel going back onto the Tempest Stubble. KP will drop, but Gabby just jumps in right in front of the fountain. Onto BDZ, but the Gobble Up play is there. RR doesn't really want to die back if he can avoid it, and he will not. Gabby's just stealing their mangoes, though. Very dangerous stuff here from TNC. You don't want to start a mango farm around these guys right now.
Definitely not. Still, they managed to finally get some progress on that top 2-0 lasso.
Another lasso out. This cooldown is very low right now, John. 42.2 seconds. So they weren't expecting that one.
No. Nah. Tier 4 is now dropping. They will have to respawn on Yoe in about 7, so they can play the defense game, but you've got to be careful here. A lot of damage in Gabby, and you do have the arena, but I'm not sure if you're going to have enough follow-up here.
Well, Gobble Up is not going to land. Lasso's back up in 10 seconds. So they can actually try to reinitiate if they really want to on TNC's end of things. It looks like they are going to just opt to back off. Funnily enough, they didn't actually get any more racks. They were going after the tier 4 towers, so they got some towers for their trouble, but no added racks.
Yeah, it's slow going. Like, they want to go for the juggler, but don't quite have that easy opening. Still, they do find another Roche, third Roche game, so Aegis Cheese plus a refresh coming through. It's going to be big if they give it to Gabby. Just the double chrono should win them the game outright. Execration.
Torpedo is in onto the Phoenix, but the egg is going to come out. Earthsplitter as well. Gabby just going to burst down the Void Spirit. Lasso is also there. Looks like they have caught out RR on the Elder Titan. He's also going to drop as Gabby just keeps going forward onto Yoe, and it looks like he has nothing to do with this team fight any longer as he does die, and the GG is finally called. No buybacks really left here on Execration. And TNC, they do confidently pull off a 2-0 victory in this series.
Yeah, it was a lot closer for Execration here in game number 2, 45-19. They held their cool early on in the game, but they couldn't get enough farm. Yoe on the Arc Warden just could not get the space you expect an Arc Warden to. His Midas timing was slower than Gabby's, which was the biggest hurting point. Like, TNC got that rotation right on time, right as Gabby was about to finish his own farm up, and it kind of fell flat. A good effort from Execration. That does mean TNC stays up on top of the groups, though, and Execration's going to have to look elsewhere for a win.
Absolutely. Of course, John, with that, we are going to move on to our next series of the night. It's going to be T1 versus Neon, which I would argue is probably going to be one of the closer matchups tonight between those two. Now, I haven't had the pleasure of seeing the new T1 roster, as I haven't really had much time. Neon, it looks like they've had a bit of a struggle throughout the group stages, but they have also been playing in another tournament at the same time as the Pro Series, so they've been busy boys, and of course with their roster changes and their position changes, I can't say it's too surprising, but let's see what they get up to in this next series. Of course, John, for you get to see your boy again, your best friend. Coach March is going to be there. It's always nice.
Well, I don't think he's going to be in the lobby, sadly. So
why not?
He can't give me his smile. I haven't noticed coaches come in. Their managers come in. Like, we get to say hi to Rain and watch him get kicked every single time. But we'll see. Maybe March does show up to say hi. That would be nice.
Well, we'll find out in a couple minutes. It is MLP Dota and John Fire. We'll see you all again after a 10-minute break for our third series of the night. We'll see you then.